Hi everyone, I'm Jay Fadden. Thank you so much for joining us today on This Is a Day, and a special thank you to our veterans who are out there who have done so much for all of us. And Kevin, we have a great show. We're going to meet some veterans.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to Major Gary Good from, he's stationed in Afghanistan, so Jay had an opportunity to talk to him. We also have some great singer-songwriters on the show as well. Joe and Bridget Hooker will be here to talk about their latest CD.
All that and much more right now on This Is the Day. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Jay Fadden. Thank you so much for being with us today on This Is the Day. Joined by my great friend Kevin Nelson. Father Reed will kind of be here today. Kind of, sort of. How's that?
Yeah, he's always here in spirit, Jay.
Yeah, we like that. But I have to tell you, a special thank you goes out to all the veterans. My dad's a veteran, you know.
Yes, my dad too, yeah.
Yep. And where was your dad in Marines?
He was Marines, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
the school of hard knocks.
My dad was Army. But a special thank you to all of the veterans out there for their service to this country and what they've done. Actually, Dave is a veteran. So, Dave, thank you so much for all you've done for the country and so many others. And we remember all those who were not fortunate enough to come back when they were serving. Yeah. So they're in our thoughts and our prayers. And as we say that, remember, we have our prayer box here. I'm looking, it's right over your shoulder, Kevin. Yeah. And so we thank all of you who have sent in. We always put them in and know that everyone who sends in a prayer, you are remembered. So you are also remembered. We got a lot going on. You're going over to the USCCB. We talked about that last program. We said we'd talk about it this program.
And we always are true to our word, Jay.
Yes. So yes. What's it like over there?
Well, you know, the USCCB, it's the fall meeting. They do two per year, but the fall meeting's the big one, and we're there. And we're interviewing lots of bishops, lots of people that are coming by from Catholic organizations. So it's a great way to you know, let them know about us and get an opportunity to talk to a lot of the bishops about some of the many different issues that are coming up in the church and the world as well.
I hear our good friend Monsignor Maroney's going down with us too.
Monsignor Maroney will be there as well, yeah. And
talking about his new series.
Talking about the new series, of course. You know, the first week of Advent, we will be right in the middle of the Roman Missal changes. So it's great that Monsignor Maroney will be down there. He was a consultant with USCCB for many years as well. So he's there. And hopefully we'll be grabbing some interviews with some of the people that he knows as well.
And remember, if you get our magazine, inside the magazine there's a tear out. Now hopefully you'll be a little more successful than Father Reed was tearing that out. I did it very easily, by the way. But that way you can follow right along, because there are some changes. I really like them, though. I've gone over it. He quizzed me on one of the programs. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, that will be making a blooper reel in the future.
I think that would be very easy to do. Hey, you know what? We're also traveling after the Bishops' Conference. Adam is moving ahead, and he's going somewhere else.
Yeah, so Bonnie and Adam are going from the Bishops' Conference, and they're going to the NCYC convention. It happens every other year. Great conventions. I understand 25,000 teenagers will be on hand. And, of course, it's in Indianapolis, and that is where a good friend of ours, Bishop Coyne, is, and he'll be there. He'll be doing the closing Mass as well there. And also a person that we just interviewed recently for Clear Voice, and the day was Jesse Manabusen. He's going to be on hand to perform there. There's lots of great activities for the kids to do, some great workshops and you know, great concerts, and of course the closing Mass. So they'll be there getting interviews throughout that. Now,
you know, people can't see this, but Bonnie is actually just right off camera. Are you going to get an interview with Bishop Coyne? Yeah, that was a yes. Well, you know what I love about it, by the way, is Bonnie always comes back with all these interviews with young people, and they're talking about Catholic TV, and they're doing these chairs.
She can talk their language.
She could talk their. Do you know what I noticed though? And I don't know what happened, but there came a point when I couldn't talk that language anymore.
Oh, come on.
Well, I tried to, but I don't know if it's really translating too well.
Maybe it's your approach, Jay. Hey, kids, what's shaking?
I have to say to you, I really don't think that's my approach. I don't know where you got that from, Wherever you did.
Hipster Jay. How's it going?
You know, Kevin, if that's the approach you use, you better put that in your hip pocket, because that's definitely not my approach. Mine is just usually, hey, how are you? How's it going? Hey, I'm Hipster Jay. No, I don't do that at all.
Well, maybe you should try. It might work.
No, I think I will stay away from that. You know what? I'm so thrilled, too, that we have Major Gary Good on the program today, because they're doing great work out there. I always think of talking with Father Erickson about the need for chaplains and for people out there and what it means to people. And, you know, they're going to find this out. But Major Good is a convert to the faith. Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, I've got an opportunity to talk to some of the veterans, too, that we've had on the show, too. And it amazes me, too, that they're able to, you know, it's a great, as you were saying, Jay, it's a great ministry to be a chaplain in the armed services. And, you know, because a lot of these guys depend on that, depend on keeping that connection to their faith, and to be able to hook up with other servicemen and women to share together in a community. And, you know, as you're saying, it sounds like it's going to be a great interview with Major Good as a convert. And, you know, a lot of times you talk to converts and their faith is really, you know, on fire, and, you know, they're really passionate about their faith.
But you know why I think that is? Because they study it. They fall in love with the faith because they study what happens and what the faith is about, and it becomes the fabric of their lives. And for you to make that big of a commitment, we're cradle Catholics, to make a big commitment when you're not and switch over, that means that you're very attracted and you love it. So that's why I think they're on fire, because they understand it so well. That's why I always think it's so important to learn more about your faith. As you've done, Bonnie did this too, by going and getting more education. Which is very good.
Keeping that going. So right now, we're going to actually listen to Jay's interview with Major Gary Good.
On Veterans Day, we have the honor to speak with Major Gary Good. His family has a tradition of military service, and Major Good converted to the Catholic faith while deployed. So we welcome him to the faith and thank him for his service to this country. So Major, thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to have you. How you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Well, you converted to Catholicism while you were deployed, and that's very, very interesting to me. Tell me how that happened.
Well, I have to say I was actually converting before, but due to time and, you know, the military, we moved quite a bit, so I decided to join, to come into the Catholic faith while I was in Korea with, at the time, Father Buchan, and now he's Bishop Buchan for the Archdiocese of the Military Service. Started then, but then due to transferring and moving, I wasn't able to complete the RCIA, so I actually completed it here in Afghanistan, and became Catholic this past Easter.
Well, you'll have a story to tell everybody years from now, because that's a great story. How has the support of the Catholic priests been while you're serving? I mean, it must be just so necessary in an environment where you're away from family to have priests around.
It is a blessing. You know, Father Pawlikowski was here when I first arrived and finished my RCIA and brought me into the Catholic faith. And then just after that, Father Allen arrived, Father Allen Irizarry, and they're great. And, you know, we don't have enough Catholic priests, but we're working on it. And so they're a blessing to have, and they're really good for us, because I think when you are deployed, you're away from your family, the devil tries to pull you in lots of different directions, and so it's helpful to have someone there to help you focus and help you think about the Catholic faith, and also there's lots of reasons to go see the Father and to join that community when you're away from family and friends.
We honor all our veterans on today. It's such a special day. You have a history of military service in your family. How important has that influence been for you?
Military service is extremely important to my family. Funny, when I was a senior in high school, a cousin of mine, he's actually a Medal of Honor recipient, asked me if I had received my West Point materials he had sent to me, and I said, Army? I'm not joining the Army, and here I am 18 years later in the Army. Yeah, when I went off to college, I realized that I was missing something back then, and I joined the Army because my whole family served in the military at one time or another.
How important is it for military overseas to know that we're all back here thinking of you and praying for you?
You know, it was funny, before I came here, I would see these ads still, or these people saying, send us little bottles of shampoo and little bottles of little things of soap. And you think, gosh, you know, I know the troopers can get that stuff. But when a trooper can go over there to the MWR or to the chaplain's office and get some deodorant or soap or a card, a lot of people send cards and Girl Scout cookies. It just reminds them that people are actually thinking about them and they're praying about them. And I think there's no way to put words on the appreciation the troops have when we get those things. It's just small little trinkets to the people back home, but when we get them here in Afghanistan, we're away from our families for 6, 9, 12 months at a time. It's really helpful to make us people back home that are thinking about us every day.
Mm-hmm. This has been an extended period away from your family, and I know it has to be difficult. Who would you like to send greetings to back home? Who would you like to say hi to?
Well, there's a long list, of course, but I'll keep it short. I'm sure you people would like that. But my fiance is outside of Chicago in Shorewood, Illinois, and I'd like to say hi to her, Magdalena. And then my children, they live in Cincinnati, Ohio, Sam, Emily, and Abby. The name kind of makes me, gives us a kind of a good little nickname. I call them the 3 good kids. So 3 good kids back there in Cincinnati. I want to say hi to them. And then, of course, the rest of my family, my mom in Arkansas, my dad in Indiana, and all the rest, too.
Well, Major, we'd like to thank you for your service to this country and what you've done for all of us, allowing us to have the freedom that we all enjoy. And I want you to know that you're in all of our thoughts and prayers in a very special way, and all of our viewers will remember you in their prayers. You have a wonderful day, and you stay safe.
Thank you so much. Dominus Vobiscum.
What a great honor for us here at Catholic TV to bring these military personnel into your home so you can see the great work they're doing and how much their faith life means to them, especially during this time in their life. Now back to This Is the Day. And back to me on This Is the Day. But not for long, because we're going to go over to Kevin in a second. But once again, our thoughts and prayers with all of those overseas, and we remember all of the veterans who have done such a service for us, for our freedom. Very much appreciated. Great job, ladies and gentlemen. Now we move over to Kevin Nelson. Kevin, what's going on around the world in the Catholic faith?
All right, thanks, Jay. Hello, everyone. It is time to take a look at the news, and we begin from the Vatican. Religious freedom, new evangelization, and the push for vocations were the key issues of the first round of U.S. bishops' ad limina visits to the Vatican. In the first of 15 groups of U.S. bishops making ad limina visits, 18 bishops from New England met with Pope Benedict XVI November 3rd through the 9th. Cardinal Sean O'Malley of Boston said the bishops had discussed religious freedom in meetings with several Vatican agencies. He said the bishops are very concerned because the Church's freedom is constantly being eroded in the United States. The Cardinal said there was a tendency in the United States to interpret religious freedom solely as an individual right, which does not allow the Church much room to implement its teachings. He said that's becoming especially apparent on questions regarding marriage, family, and human life. Also, the Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, decisions not to renew a grant to the Bishop's Migration and Refugee Services, the MRS, for its human trafficking program was discussed. A new requirement by the HHS would oblige MRS to provide abortions and contraception to human trafficking victims and unaccompanied refugee minors. Another discussion topic was the recent establishment of a new ad hoc committee for religious liberty, as well as the new translation of the Roman Missal. The Pope heard good news on the subject of vocations. Archbishop Henry Mansell of Hartford, Connecticut, said there is a large increase in vocations to the priesthood in his archdiocese. They have gone from 6 seminarians 8 years ago to 47 now, with more on the waiting list. In news now from around the country, a new Army Chief of Chaplains says that military chaplains are out in the field every day in Iraq and Afghanistan with soldiers that are making life and death decisions. In an interview with Catholic News Service in his office at the Pentagon, Father Donald Rutherford from the Diocese of Albany, New York, is a Major General and became Chief of Chaplains July 22nd. He said the chaplains are taking care of those who are in most need at a time they're far away. The 56-year-old priest was nominated for the top post and a promotion in rank from brigadier general in February after serving as deputy chief since November of 2007. He began his military career with the Army ROTC at Siena College in New York. He was ordained in 1981 and went into the Army Reserve. Despite the ongoing debate about the U.S.-led wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, Father Rutherford pointed out that surveys show that people rank the military higher than law or medicine as a profession. Less than 1% of the U.S. population is currently serving in uniform. In October, President Barack Obama announced that all U.S. troops will be pulled out of Iraq by the end of the year, bringing that war to an end. More than 4,400 U.S. service members have died in the Iraq war, about 1,800 in Afghanistan. And in other news, the Occupy Wall Street movement has been splashed across the front pages of papers for weeks. Now church leaders are speaking up about how they agree with the message of the movement. Catholic News Service has more in this report.
The Occupy Wall Street protests that have spread to cities worldwide appear to have received a nod from the Catholic Church. Though Catholic leaders haven't given an official endorsement of the movement, many have said they agree with the message that strong action is needed to reduce the growing gap between the rich and poor.
Our country has a history of accommodating protests and contrary opinions, freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. Those are not absolute rights, and certainly the rights of other citizens in New York and elsewhere have to be respected. But let me say this, the minute you begin to go after religious liberty, you are in that same breath curbing the right to free speech, and you're curbing as well the right to assembly. So in defending religious liberty, we are in the same breath defending all the liberties that we've been endowed with by the Creator and which we cherish as Americans and as Catholics.
In Washington, this is Chaz Muth for Catholic News Service.
And finally in the news, in Vietnam, Redemptorists at a Hanoi parish are urging local Catholics to keep calm after a mob led by government officials attacked a convent and church early November. Around 100 people, accompanied by security officials and members of the press, attacked the convent, damaging a gate. They also verbally abused and physically assaulted several Redemptorist priests and lay people. Not until the church's bell rang out did the mob flee. Tens of thousands of the faithful attended 10 special masses celebrated at Tai Ha Church in the capital. It was during those special masses that priests spoke to their parishioners about the attacks and asked them to stay calm. Redemptorist Father Joseph Nguyen Van Phong, parish pastor, told one congregation that they strongly condemn this violent, rude, and organized attack, but he urged them to forgive the attackers and not to retaliate. He said the motive behind the attack might stem from an ongoing dispute with the government over seized church property. Father Phong said they will fight for church property, but in a peaceful way, and he's urging the government to punish the rioters. Well, that is all the news we have for you on this Friday, November 11, 2011. We're going to take a quick break right now, but please stay with us. More of This Is the Day is on the way.
Our family has spanned the centuries and the globe. With God's grace, we started hospitals to care for the sick. We established orphanages and help the poor. We are the largest charitable organization on the planet, bringing comfort to those in need. We educate more children than any other institution. We developed the scientific method and founded the college system. We defend the dignity of human life and uphold marriage. Guided by the Holy Spirit, we compiled the Bible. We are transformed by sacred scripture and sacred tradition, which have guided us for 2,000 years. We are the Catholic Church, with over 1 billion in our family, sharing in the sacraments and fullness of the Christian faith. Jesus started our church when he said to Peter, the first pope, "You are rock, and upon this rock I will build my church." So if you've been away from the Catholic Church, we invite you to take another look. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today. We are Catholic. Welcome home.
And we are back, and it's just a great day to remember the veterans. I was just telling Dave that my grandfather, you know, was a shipbuilder during World War II.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so which was tough work.
Yeah.
I mean, that was tough work, but so many people were involved. So many, you know, you see these veterans, and what gratitude we owe all of those guys.
I have to say, my father-in-law, too, who was in the Navy, he was on a medical ship in World War II, and we just celebrated his 90th birthday last week. So,
really?
Yeah. Doing great.
Well, you always have birthdays going on.
Yeah. You know, I could go into them, but I'm not going to, Jay.
Good. Good. Stay out of it. You know, we travel around a lot, and we meet great people all the time. We had the opportunity to speak once again, for the second time, I think, on This Is the Day, Joe and Bridget Hooker.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at that.
2009 and 10, we produced what is known now as the Anthem of the Priesthood, Our Priests. It debuted at the Catholic Marketing Network to a standing ovation crowd, and during the Year of the Priest, the production and music video, which are available to watch on Catholic TV, was given an apostolic blessing by our Holy Father, Pope Benedict. It was given an endorsement by our Cardinal, Cardinal Regali of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and just more than that, the fruits that have come in the forms of letters from priests and lay people, that the production moved them either to help a priest or a priest to strengthen his own priesthood, or a seminarian to consider moving forward in the seminary or to enter the seminary. It's just been beautiful gifts that have really given us the sense that that was a great idea to do it, and we're grateful that we were able to do that. We received an onslaught of letters and emails and phone calls through the Year of the Priest, again from priests in particular, that I thought were the most moving, and they remain with me as far as some of the calls, even to the point of certain priests that would call in tears, saying that the production helped them to reaffirm their own priesthood. It helped them through a particularly difficult time. It helped a family member to encourage a young person to consider the priesthood. And so those moments are things that really were inspirational. And also the fact that the country of Malta adopted the Our Priests production as their theme song for their vocation hour. They actually re-recorded using our instrumental track, translated and recorded the song in Maltese, and it airs daily in Malta during vocation hour, twice daily. So that has been a beautiful gift from it as well, so we're proud of that.
God Calling, Bridget and I actually recorded back in 1994, as we did a lot of our music, singing the Rosary, Apostles of the Last Days, Say Yes to Jesus, Mighty God, and a lot of that stuff's still on cassettes. So Bridget thought it was a good idea to bring this back to the digital age. We've had it mastered twice. Recently we had it done in 2011 by Phil Nicolo, Studio 4. He's actually a Grammy Award-winning producer. He's also on the Board of Trustees for the National Recording Academy. People give out the Grammys and stuff. And anyway, so we just brought it out, and she just thought it was very timely, and we're going to try to get all our things that we did on cassette, like Singing the Rosary and the other cassettes, on CD now. Have them remastered for iTunes, and so we can put them on YouTube. And
well, we feel obviously God's message, the message of Christianity, is timeless, and we really were getting a sense about ourselves that these are items that we need to, we feel they were gifts, and they're things that we really want to share and leave for our children, for their legacy, for others who might be inspired by them. It is almost like we feel convicted at this point in time, as we're not getting any younger, and we feel that these are things that we want to make sure that we've completed. And there are so many songs my husband's been blessed to have written. I think that there's an option, there's an opportunity to help people with them, including our own families, our own children, our own neighbors. And so the impetus behind it is that it feels to be an incomplete work that we're trying now to complete it. So. God Calling and all of the music that we have currently available digitally, it's all available on iTunes. It also is available, and there's information on each of the items at ComeAliveMusic.com. All of the CDs are available through standard digital retail outlets like Amazon.com, and that's been a nice way to help disseminate a message to a larger audience. It's been really helpful to us to be able to do it that way as well.
And we are back. Hey, we almost caught Bonnie on the set. She was giving us a magazine,
yeah,
which would have been interesting. You know what? They are so talented, though. Bridget actually is a linguist for the USCCB, so translates languages. Yeah. And they have done videos for us, one on John Paul II, and they did one on priesthood. And then they have their CD. They're musicians.
God Calling, yeah, very devout people and involved in a lot of media and promoting. And this is what we've been talking about, the new evangelization. So they're out there and they're doing it. So.
They are. I mean, and they've had some tough times too. Yeah. And but yet their faith has held them together. They're just wonderful, wonderful people, and always great to have Joe and Bridget on Catholic TV. Another thing that's great is our magazine. You're holding it right there,
right here, yeah,
with Mass Confusion. Why didn't you make the cover? Yours is premiering and this is premiering. They beat you out.
I don't get into semantics like that, Jay. I'm just here to do my job. There it is, Mass Confusion, a great show, sitcom, which is actually premiering this month, part of the Faith and Family Month here in November, and you can learn all about that. That's actually written by, I believe, one of the Willets. The article itself.
Greg wrote that.
Tells about how it all came to be, the Mass Confusion. Yeah. And it's a great show. You're going to love it. It's funny, and the crew did a great job going down there and shooting that in Atlanta.
And once again, if you need to know about the new Mass, it's right inside here.
Oh,
you know what's great about this? Now, I'm going to say it now because he's not here. Peter Kaminsky was directing when I was going through the magazine. I'm not going to do it, but there's a picture of Peter in there that he refused to take. He literally refused to take the picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you know what? Tim, who's directing now, said, "I'll take it."
He's not here today, so
you know what? I'm not going. Tim, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to do that because Peter will be back from vacation, and and he's probably watching it right now.
And in the future, he could take an unflattering shot of yourself, Jay.
Well, that would happen. Are you going to do any more impressions of me? How I talk to the young people out there?
I'll do that afterwards.
Hey, a couple things. First of all, safe travels to you. As you travel down to the USCCB. I know you do enjoy it. It's a lot of work, but you do enjoy it. And safe travel to Bonnie and Adam as they continue from the USCCB, and Dave, to you too. But we really want to, again, thank the veterans. It is Veterans Day, and for all they have done. I know that all of us know somebody who has done that. As you had said, Kevin, you had your dad, who was a Marine, and you had, did you say your grandfather?
My father-in-law.
Your father-in-law.
In the Navy, yep.
Who was in the Navy. And you know what? I almost forgot, too. We have Marquella, who was in the Navy. Kim.
Yeah.
Kim was in the, do you know what branch Kim was in?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay. She was in the Army. Kim was in the Army. You can always tell, by the way, people who are in the military because of how polite they are.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Dave, I'm just kidding. Dave, I'm kidding you. I'm just kidding, Dave.
You were doing so good, Jay.
No, but they are. They're always so, but like with Mark and Kim, you can always see it.
Yeah.
So thank you to all the people, and especially thank you at home for all our veterans out there for everything you've done. It's because of you that we continue to have the freedom we have here in the United States, and know that our prayers here at Catholic TV are joined by so many others who watch this program, praying for you and what you've done. Know that you're in all of our thoughts and prayers. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on This Is the Day.